My name is Mary Whitaker. I'm 72 years old, and this is my husband, George Whitaker. He's 74. We've been married for 52 years, but there was a year when we were both 40, when that number almost stopped growing forever.
We met in 1972 in a diner outside Dayton, Ohio. I was 19, stubborn, full of dreams. George was 21, quiet, patient, the kind of man who listened before he spoke. He ordered coffee. I stole one of his fries just to make him smile. We were married 6 months later in my mother's backyard, with folding chairs, a cheap cake, and a radio playing country music too loud. And we were happy, really happy. We were poor but happy. We danced in the kitchen. We burned dinners together. We held hands walking to the grocery store because we only had one car. We thought love was something you felt, something that stayed automatically once you found it. But here's the thing I need to tell you before you click away. There was a night when I was 40 years old, standing in our kitchen with a cup of cold coffee in my hands, when I looked at George and realized I didn't recognize the man in front of me anymore. Not because he had changed, but because we had stopped seeing each other. We didn't fight loudly, we didn't throw things, we didn't cheat. We just stopped talking about anything that mattered. We talked about bills, about work, about groceries, about the kids' schedules, but not about loneliness, not about fear, not about the quiet resentment growing between us like mold in a dark room.
And we almost divorced because of that silence.
When people hear 52 years of marriage, they think it must have been easy. They think we were lucky. They think love carried us through. The truth is harder than that. Love didn't save our marriage. A habit did. And if we hadn't learned it when we were 40, we wouldn't be sitting here today, holding hands, telling you this story. And we certainly wouldn't be walking every morning at sunrise, counting our steps, reminding each other to take our medicine, still laughing about silly things like we did when we were 19. So tonight, we want to tell you what almost broke us, what saved us, and how taking care of our marriage ended up saving our health, too. Because a long marriage isn't about never hurting each other. It's about learning how to heal before it's too late.
My name is George Whitaker, and if I'm being honest with you, I didn't notice when my marriage started slipping away. It didn't happen in one big fight. It didn't happen because of betrayal or screaming or some dramatic moment you'd see in a movie. It happened quietly,
Respectfully.
politely. The way a house starts sinking into the ground one
inch at a time until one day the doors won't close anymore.
I thought I was being a good husband. I worked overtime, I chased promotions, I fixed the car, fixed the sink, fixed the roof when it leaked. My father worked himself to death in a factory, and I promised myself my family would never struggle the way we did growing up. So I gave my energy to work because in my mind, providing was love. And Mary never complained, not loudly anyway. She kept the house warm, packed lunches, paid the bills on time, smiled in front of neighbors. We looked like a good couple from the outside, stable, responsible, mature. But inside that house, we were getting quieter every year. I would come home late, eat dinner in front of the TV, and fall asleep in the chair. She would wash dishes in silence. We stopped sitting on the porch together, stopped walking after supper, stopped asking each other real questions. And because there was no explosion, I assumed everything was fine. That was my mistake. Silence is dangerous because it feels safe. It doesn't scare you. It doesn't force you to change. It lets you believe things are okay while something important is dying slowly in the background. When Mary stopped laughing at my jokes, I told myself she was tired. When she stopped reaching for my hand in bed, I told myself she had a headache. When she started going to bed earlier and earlier, I told myself she just needed sleep. I didn't ask why. and she didn't tell me. Two people trying not to hurt each other, hurting each other anyway. Around that time, my doctor told me my blood pressure was too high, cholesterol too. I laughed it off, said I'd take a pill and be fine. But looking back now, I know that stress wasn't just from work. It was from living next to the woman I loved and feeling like I was losing her without understanding how. I started waking up at night with a tightness in my chest. Not a heart attack, they said, anxiety. But I didn't know men my age could have anxiety. We didn't have that language back then. We just called it being tired. Mary started getting migraines, bad ones. She'd sit in a dark room for hours. I'd bring her tea and stand awkwardly in the doorway, not knowing what to say, not knowing how to fix something that wasn't broken pipes or loose screws. And that's the thing about marriage nobody tells you when you're young. You can fix a roof with tools. You can't fix a heart without listening. By the time I realized how far apart we had drifted, she had already started imagining a life without me in it, and I didn't even know. I was 40 years old, sitting in a quiet living room with a television glowing blue in front of me, thinking I had built a stable life, while the most important part of it was slipping through my hands. And the night Mary said she didn't know if she loved me anymore, I finally understood something that took me decades to learn. A marriage doesn't die because of one mistake. It dies because of 1,000 small silences. We were too busy, too proud, or too afraid to break.
One Tuesday night after dinner, I said it. George, I don't think I love you anymore. My hands were shaking so hard I had to hold the table. I expected anger. I expected shouting. Instead, he cried. It was the first time in 20 years I saw my husband cry. And suddenly I realized something terrible. We weren't strangers because love ended. We were strangers because we stopped caring enough to understand each other. I had been lonely for years, invisible. I missed the boy who laughed in diners, who danced barefoot in our kitchen. I missed the feeling of being seen. So I packed a small suitcase the next morning, not to leave forever, but to see if he would stop me. And when he said quietly, "Can we talk tonight? Just 15 minutes?" Something inside me hesitated. That night saved our marriage.
I didn't know how to fix us. I just knew I didn't want to lose her. So I asked for 15 minutes. No TV, no phones, no blaming, just truth. At first it was awkward. We sat at the kitchen table like strangers. But Mary said she felt invisible. I said I felt like a failure. She said she missed laughing. I said I missed her hand in mine. We cried, and we made a rule. 15 minutes every night, no matter how tired, no matter how angry. Those minutes became conversations. Conversations became understanding. Understanding became kindness. And kindness slowly became love again. People think love is passion. It's not. Love is attention.
Those talks became walks. Short walks after dinner. At first just to clear our heads, then to hold hands, then because we started feeling better. George lost weight, his blood pressure dropped, my migraines stopped coming every week. We started cooking together instead of eating in front of the TV, sleeping better, laughing more. Marriage and health are connected in ways nobody tells you when you're young. Stress inside a house shows up in your body, in your heart, in your sleep, in your breath. When we healed our marriage, our bodies followed. At 50, we started walking every morning. At 60, stretching together in the living room. At 70, reminding each other about medicine and doctor appointments. Love kept us alive longer than pride would have.
Looking back, we made 3 mistakes. We stopped talking honestly. We let work come before connection, and we assume there would always be more time. There isn't. You think you'll fix things next year, after the promotion, after the kids grow up, after life gets calmer. Life never gets calmer. You have to choose each other inside the chaos. We almost lost 52 years of love because we waited too long to say what mattered.
People ask us our secret. It's not romance, it's not luck, it's small daily choices. Sit together, talk honestly, walk together, laugh when you can, forgive quickly, take care of your health so you can hold the one you love longer. And never assume love survives without attention. Love is a garden. If you don't water it, it dies quietly.
Today we are slower, wrinkled, forgetful sometimes. But every night after dinner, 15 minutes. Sometimes we talk about memories, sometimes about pain, sometimes about nothing. But those minutes saved our marriage, saved our health, saved our life. And when we walk in the park holding hands, I thank God we didn't give up at 40.
Talk before resentment grows. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Take care of your body together, and don't assume you know what your partner feels. Ask, listen, sit quietly if you must. One honest conversation can save decades of regret. If you're hurting tonight, start with 15 minutes. If you're young, don't wait until 40.
Tell us in the comments how long you've been with your partner and where you're watching from.